because that's what, originally, and I'm talking specifically about when we think about Black feminism, because sometimes, that just kind of pops in my mind.
Yeah.
When Black women were really embraced, you saw a large, influx or influx.
This is the Leo CLIMACO podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Leo CLIMACO podcast. My guest today is known as the femininity doctor. Hold on. Femininity doctor. There we go. I got it right. Keli Pitts. Hi, Keli.
Hi, Leo.
I am so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. We met through the beautiful Instagram.
We did.
You are writing an amazing book, and you DM'd me to interview me for your book.
I did.
And I thought that was so cool. I felt so honored.
Thank you. I'm glad you felt honored, and I loved your feedback.
Thank you.
Added a lot of value.
How's the book coming?
Great.
Yeah?
Really great. I'm excited.
When is it coming out?
So I'm actually going to be pitching this one to publishing houses. I'm not going to self-publish this time. So currently I don't have a date, but I'm in my last year of research. So pretty soon, I'm pretty sure I will.
Where did this idea come from to write this book, to share this message?
Really, it was a God thing. I was at home on my couch. I remember it maybe 3 years ago.
Wow.
And God just spoke and said, I want you to expose feminism. I was like, expose feminism? What does that even mean? And so, I tabled it for a little while, but God doesn't stop knocking. He knocks harder. And so eventually I just came to it, and I asked for the strength and the guidance to look for things that aren't as easily found about this movement. And one thing led me to another, and walking away from my full-time position as the femininity doctor, as in the self-help aspect of my business, which made me wildly successful, like the women's retreats, the courses, all of those things, to do this and raising capital, talking to people like you. It's all a part of the journey. Here we are.
Why do you think this challenge was placed upon you?
I believe I have the heart, the bravery, and the strength to do this for my generation. This is not easy. The things that I'm finding out, it's not just as simple as, feminism isn't what we thought it was. It's quite heavy. So many women have dedicated their lives to this movement, have given up their personal lives to follow the great feminists who we believed told us the truth. And they didn't. And they were all planted in this movement to really manipulate and control the American woman for financial purposes.
Wow.
Mostly.
Let's get into that. Sure. What is feminism and what is the truth?
Wow. Okay. And I'll only say so much because I want the book to be like
for sure, 100%.
Wow, and a love letter. So feminism is a movement that promises to be about women's rights and equality on the face, but is really just a vessel for communism to move itself into American society, to break down the family, liberate women away from God, men, children, and families.
Away from God.
Away from God, really. That's what it is. It's an attack on Christianity specifically. And that wasn't easy for me to find out. And I'm writing this book. But feminism was founded to get rid of Christianity, specifically Christian female virtues.
Wow.
Yes.
Who began this movement?
Mary Wollstonecraft is known as the mother of feminism, but really I want to say it was her son-in-law, Percy Shelley, who made all of this possible. He made sure that her work made it to the public face. So you could call him, some people say, the dad or the granddaddy of feminism, because again, he's he made all of this, the writings, her vision for the ultimate feminist possible. But she, Mary Wollstonecraft, is known as the mother of feminism to so many.
Did the theory or the ideology, did it evolve over time?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Did it start out as something and then morphed into something else? Is that what happened?
You could say that, but the perfect avatar of the feminist that Mary Wollstonecraft and Percy Shelley envisioned is on full display today. So it was like over time, you have to move people away from their values. And, you know, there were highs and lows in the movement. There was a lot of back and forth between people and the vision and where it would go. And is this the truth? But ultimately, you know, what we see today is the feminist that was thought of originally. The godless woman who doesn't like, trust, and respect men, and who doesn't have the desire to mother and nurture in her heart. And how do we see that? Contraception and abortion, mostly.
Do you think that there's a way that we could have gotten equality without feminism?
I do. I think we have equality. And so many women who fought for equality, you know, because the feminist movement in the American West, you know, became divided in the late 60s. So many women who actually fought for equality were pro-family feminist. But it was the mainstream liberal feminists who got a lot of that credit because they have the biggest bullhorn. But that's what the pro-family feminists were saying, which I'm bridging together 3 centuries of feminism together, so all of this will make sense.
Right.
But that's what they were saying. We don't have to, you know, hate men and pit ourselves against the opposite sex to get our way. So I do believe that.
You know, growing up, I never really understood feminism.
Most men don't.
Yeah.
Most women don't.
Never really got it. I was always in favor of you know, empowering women and always in favor, but never understood why it required a battle. But then I, you know, learned that, you know, throughout history, women haven't had much rights, and men have been really controlling things, quote unquote, right? And I feel that women wanted their voices heard.
Of course.
Right? Which is fair and just, and it's how it should be.
Sure.
But I just don't know if attacking men was the way to go about it.
I agree, because now we have a rather large gender war that everybody can feel and see.
Yeah.
You know, I think this challenge that men and women are facing today has given rise to so many podcasts. Everybody's talking about relationships.
Oh, yes.
Trying to fix this problem. So, you know, what the feminists wanted to do, have independent women who were perfect workers and not wives and mothers is how we really got here. You know, I don't think that they maybe saw it all the way through and where we would end up, but it's pretty heavy. You know, when you take a woman away from nurturance to androgynize her, you know, naturally the male or the masculine will respond to that. I think with a lot of things, discontentment, anger, passion, confusion. You know, so we have to tell the truth.
Few things I want your opinion on.
Okay.
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, okay.
What is your opinion?
I've heard of it. I've actually never been to the OnlyFans site, but I
Don't.
think I know. I think I know it. It's what is it? Are we calling that soft porn?
Nowadays, it's full hardcore porn.
I mean,
it's full on.
Well, we have feminism to thank for that, specifically Dr. Alfred Charles Kinsey, the father of the sexual revolution, which backdoored American feminism in the late 60s. So when the sexual revolution and feminism got married, that is when you really started to see women come away from those conservative values, you know, like dressing modestly, you know, waiting until marriage, to have sex.
Right.
You know, that ultimate Virgin Mary that we cherished in the American West for so long, that was officially done away with. So again, now, even though all of this started in the 60s, this hypersexualized new woman who is free, they were calling it the new Holy Trinity: feminism, free love, and spirituality. You know, she doesn't have God. She's spiritual. She's fluid. She doesn't have modesty. She's got free love. You know, she can do what she wants with her body. And then, her rights and her great job. You know, again, that stuff started in the 60s, but this is what we see on full display today. It's like, this is how far, we've come. This is it. And so when I think about things like OnlyFans, people don't know where this is coming from. And it's so interesting to talk to men because they're like, why are women so different? Why, women were decent. What happened? And I'm like, that is the second wave feminism that got all of this started. We didn't have OnlyFans in the 60s, no, but this ultimate feminist that started in the 60s especially, here she is on OnlyFans.
Welfare.
Mm-hmm. What about it?
What do you think about it? What impact has welfare had on feminism, families, women?
Okay. Empowering the woman to make the decisions as far as family structures, fathers in the home, family sizes, and incentivizing the breakdown of the family. I believe all of that can be found under the umbrella of feminism. The woman at the front, the man to the back. There's something I'm going to be talking about in my book because I can't leave it out, even though I love everyone. The new left. This breakdown of the family.
The progressives.
What does that look like? And so, the woman here and the man constantly being placed in a downward position. I think that's welfare. I think anytime you have to give something up that God says is good, you have to tilt your head a little bit and ask why.
I saw a study. I want to remember it correctly. I think it was, they compared marriages between straight marriages, lesbian marriages, and gay marriages.
Sure.
So men and women, two women, and two men. The divorce rate for straight couples was, I think, 42%.
Okay.
The divorce rate for lesbians was 72%.
That sounds about right.
The divorce rate for homosexuals was 28%. And part of the study was saying that the myth that men are the problem is broken with this study.
If you just look at the divorce rates, which we know women are responsible for initiating and following through with over 70% of the divorces in the American West. Now we're talking about lesbian marriage rates, which I think that's why you brought this up. Well, even when women are dealing with other women, there's still discourse. So there's is it really a man thing?
Right.
And we all understand the role that the lesbian played in the feminist movement, especially the Black lesbian. So it's kind of like you're the most empowered. You've got the biggest, backing ever.
Why is that?
Because that's what, originally, and I'm talking specifically about when we think about Black feminism, because sometimes, that just kind of pops in my mind.
Yeah.
When Black women were really embraced, you saw a large, influx or inflow of lesbianism. And I was
It came out, right?
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, well, we know that she does not want to procreate and get along with her black man. So the lesbian was the perfect, feminist. She was already not on the same page with the man for her own challenges, for her own reasons, or
Makes sense.
whatever it is. And so, now it's like, okay, we've got this person that was disenfranchised or unhappy or not seen by society, but she's most would say the highly embraced by feminism, one of the most powerful groups in the American West. So what is the issue with two lesbians, two empowered people now? How is this a man issue now?
Right.
They have everything.
It makes no sense.
If that makes, I was getting ready to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
and nothing against lesbians. That's not, I'm not in that group. I'm
Right.
not here to
Same.
take away from their pain or their plight. It's just when we really look at it, and the push for LGBTQ and lesbianism and all of these other things from feminists. It's like, what's really going on here? Why can't you find a happy ending?
I was going to say something, but never mind.
I was wondering, was that rude?
Not at all.
Can you find a happy ending?
Not at all.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Like the massage parlors with a happy ending.
Could be. Could be.
I was wondering if that's where I took you.
A little bit. Yes. I think it's so interesting. I think what I found really interesting growing up was seeing how there was this huge push to make the men less masculine. To, I guess, feminize the men. And I think the more I saw it, I think hip hop is a huge meter. I love Young Thug.
Sure.
But when I saw him put a dress on,
Sure.
I had a lot of questions.
Right.
There was I know we're in the new age, but this is hip hop.
Exactly. We thought that this was the place where the masculine man could go to be understood and heard.
Exactly.
How is this now turning into high fashion?
Right.
if we'll just say that, right?
Another one that comes to mind, also love him as a basketball player, but Westbrook. Russell
Okay.
Westbrook.
Okay. I was thinking of Wade for a second. Okay, Westbrook. Yeah, I did see Westbrook in a dress. I've seen that.
Yes.
Yeah. This now. So the thing about feminism.
I'm okay with a kilt. I think a kilt is different. But
I can be okay with a kilt too. It's cultural. We can
Right.
get behind that.
Right.
For a couple of days out of the year.
Exactly.
But and I spoke about this just a little bit earlier, to place this downward pressure on masculinity in every sector of society, and to even take our most masculine figures like our athletes and to do this to them, you have to wonder why.
Yes.
Who are they hoping to reach by doing this? And what is the end goal here?
It
Even our
almost seems
athletes are
fearful.
feminine.
You know what I mean? Like out of fear.
You said it seems
Fearful.
fearful.
Like
something-
it's almost like the feminist woman is scared for things to go back the way they used to be.
So exactly, and so you have to constantly be making masculinity a weakened, softened
Yeah.
thing that we're trying to get away or do away with, right? They have so even the original feminist, to go to her backstory to help you understand why feminists feel the way they feel about men, or most feminists at least, Mary's father was a rapist and an abuser. He raped and abused her mother nightly, and even he would put his hands on her.
As a podcaster, I needed a place to share my voice and hear other stories. That's how Forge Studios was born. A place created not just for me, but for everyone searching for something more. An environment where as soon as you walk in, you feel the energy and you feel welcomed. Where being seen and heard is part of the experience. A place for entrepreneurs to share their journey, for creators to bring ideas to life, for businesses to grow authentically. A space that values mental health, encourages real conversations, and supports those who turns ideas into impact. Here at the Forge Studios, creativity, culture, and purpose aligns and comes together to help you create something greater. A place where we leave the filters behind and we start expressing ourselves for real. The Forge Studio. Your journey starts here. Your impact starts now.
And then the father of her first child, maybe the first two kids, didn't marry her, and I think he was also abusive. So her idea of men,
The pattern continued.
it's like they're bad people, and the world would be safer if women
We're in charge.
had dominion over men.
Yeah.
There's something fundamentally wrong with men versus no, my father has his challenges, and I probably picked my father and men because
Yes.
that's typically what happens if someone doesn't get help,
Right.
for the things that they were exposed to in their childhood. So that's how all of this comes about. When you look at the feminist leaders of every generation, their binding thing is we had serious daddy issues and serious man issues. I don't know if they put all that together, but that's what it is. So because of their view of their upbringings and their weak mothers, a lot of them, men are bad people. And if we are going to have a safe and egalitarian society, we need to tone down as much as possible masculinity, or maybe just drive it out altogether.
I don't know if they understand what that world would look like.
And I haven't gotten to this book yet, but the mother of second wave feminism, Betty Friedan, she actually wrote a book, I think it's called The Second Stage, where she was warning feminists later on in her life after she saw what the movement was becoming. This is the sexual revolution, the free love, free sex, love, drugs, rock and roll, that whole era. After she saw, that what at her time was the height of the career woman who really just despised men and wanted to challenge them and take what was theirs, she wrote this book, and apparently is filled with warnings and regrets. Like, we want to work with men to make the world a better place.
Right.
We don't want to drive them away and make them fear or dislike who we are.
Right.
I don't think you want that war with the superior group. So
That probably didn't go well with feminists.
I don't think the book was heavily promoted, not like her first one, which founded second wave feminism,
Right.
the feminine mystique that she wrote in
The
1963.
superior group.
The superior, we have to acknowledge, even if as a Christian, God says that women are the weaker vessel. We don't share in your superior masculine strength. We don't share on a lot of things. I think if you really want to make this a gender war, if men decided to rise up, really rise up and say, we don't care about being called misogynist, hate-filled people.
Yeah.
We don't care about you accusing us of policing your body. If we pull all of our resources together, I think, and we wanted to make this a full-on gender war, I just don't see women winning.
No, I don't either.
So
Men are too warrior-driven.
that's your nature. Of course, you're combative in nature. We're nurturing.
Yeah.
I think even if we decided to let's push this thing to the end, our natures would make us give out.
Yeah.
So.
Trump is proposing a $5,000, I guess, stipend
Okay.
to women who choose to give birth.
Okay, I haven't heard about that yet. My head has been down in the books, but beautiful. I say I think if we want to get back to a society with strong families, because our replacement birth rate
Yeah.
is pretty low.
It's like 1.6, right? I think it's 2.1 because of immigration, something like that.
It's pretty low last time I checked. So if we want to get back to building up that number and building and re-strengthening the family, we have to incentivize family. We have to incentivize motherhood. We have to incentivize fatherhood. We have to incentivize marriage. I don't see it going any other way. So if that's something that he's truly doing, great, wonderful.
Yeah, I agree.
He has to do it.
Someone has to incentivize.
Absolutely. I'm sure the media will attack him and say that this is
100%.
about something that it's not, because they're not on the side of strong families, because broken families make broken people. Broken people
Make the news.
Yeah, they belong to things like communism, socialism, and Marxism more easily. So, that won't be good.
Let's get into that. Let's get into that. You started off by saying that feminism was originally a disguise for communism.
No, feminism was originally, and I didn't see, the book that I studied all that in, I didn't see communism mentioned very, very early on, but originally feminism was founded to get rid of Christianity, specifically Christian femininity. And then the communists infiltrated femininity.
Got it.
Maybe about I don't want to throw out any years yet. I forgot the years, but eventually communism did come in and take over in the American West.
Where do you think the attack on Christianity came from and why?
So Mary Wollstonecraft and the Enlightened and the Romantics at that time were inspired by the French Revolution. And the French Revolution was unique because it was the first revolution to drive out righteousness. They believed that the mind, when acting together with reason, was virtuous and not God, not Christianity.
That's very interesting. Can you go deeper into that? I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
I think it's pretty simple. God isn't logical. That doesn't make a whole bunch of sense for the cause of expanding government and corruption either. So when you look into the French Revolution, that's what it was. This fight to drive out righteousness and expand other things. So at that time, people were just looking for different answers, as we always are. We're looking for different answers. Our generation just has a different battle.
Yeah.
But at the time, that's what it was for them. And so Mary was especially with her relationship with Christianity and God's design for the family and the man being at the head and him being so dangerous and a raper and an abuser. So that, religion, when you subscribe to it, if I'm being so hurt and abused, the patriarchy that God says is the way, doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Right.
And so there you are. We've got this revolution to drive out righteousness, Christianity. I don't love, my home and family and, what God says a family should look like, the man at the head. And so, yeah, let's just get rid of the whole thing.
That's crazy.
So feminism was actually founded. The foundation is devil worship. A lot of women do not know that. So how you have a Christian feminist today, it's not possible.
Really?
No, of course not. I'll get you the manuscript, Leo.
Wow. So it's kind of like an oxymoron.
Of course, a big one.
Wow.
Now imagine women getting their hands on that and actually asking themselves, if I am truly a God-fearing woman, how can I subscribe to this movement? That's a lot of people walking away from something. That's a lot of money, a lot of power just gone from this movement that has influenced so many.
How big is this movement today? Is it at its biggest?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think, absolutely. Look at the family challenges we're having. So many women deciding to forego wifeship and motherhood until their 40s, burning through their childbearing years completely, picking academia and their careers over family life. And so, this book is a necessary disclosure at this time. Like, hey, we're not doing great as a society, as a group. Everybody's making more money. Everybody's more free to do what they want.
Yeah.
But we have become too socially ambitious, and this is costing us a lot. And how are we going to get far without family? How can we continue to let a society like what we see today play out? Men and women already aren't getting along. Courtship is a mess. Dating, white marriage, family, divorce is at an all-time high. We have feminism to thank for that too. The big business of divorce that took off in the 80s, something I'll be addressing. Divorce conferences to push this on the American people. So it's not good.
How do we find our way?
I believe we have to bring God back to the center. Since feminism is an attack on Christ, well, let's go back at it. Let's bring Christ back into it. Right?
Do you think that's happening?
I think people are crying out in a way and saying, maybe there was something to this Jesus thing, and family and God and togetherness and order and the things that we said didn't work, and men being strong and leading and providing, and women making family their first ministry again as they do their purpose that God called them to do. Because I think that's what a lot of women are afraid of, not being individuals with purpose. And that's just not true.
I think that's really sad that they don't see a family and kids as purpose.
It is sad, but you have a movement that, look at Sex and the City. Feminism has infiltrated.
Was that like the show for feminism?
I think it was, actually.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think it was the show for feminism. You've got 4 women living this single life in the most desirable city in the American West at that time, at least. And who look at the characters. And I actually made a post about this. Samantha was, the brunette who was sweet. She was soft. And her biggest desires were to get married to this amazing man. And I think eventually she got very specific. She wanted a Jewish man and have kids. Whereas Samantha was the blonde who was sassy, very career-driven, all stylish. She was painted to be fabulous. She had sex with a different guy every night. But why was she fabulous and evolved for that lifestyle, the singlehood and hookup culture? But Charlotte was a child who was naive and who really needed to get a clue. Think about how opposite they were. And then we've got the 2 characters in between. But the woman who wanted to be a wife and a mother was slow. She was annoying, right? And then the woman who wanted to be this fast lane career woman who had sex every night, the perfect feminist, she was everything. They made her life look so beautiful and desirable and stress-free. So, you let that go on for
season after season after season, yeah.
And who would want this slow, boring life at home when I can be a Samantha? Who would want to be a Charlotte? Or maybe even a Carrie. I could be a Carrie. Or, so.
What is it, Mr. Biggs?
Mr. Big, yeah. She had her own challenges, but, truly, that's what it was.
What do you think of Tate? Andrew Tate.
I've seen him, but I don't follow his work too much.
He is, I would say, the leader of the Manosphere.
The Manosphere, okay. What men rising up and reclaiming their throne.
Exactly.
This is Sparta, that whole thing.
Basically.
You know what? I've been told he's an extremist. Then I've been told that he makes a whole lot of sense.
But I think both are correct.
Okay, and without putting my eyes on him, it's a little bit challenging to give an honest opinion.
I think you should research on him.
I'll do more. I know last time I saw he had some issues and he went away for a bit.
So he's never been convicted.
Okay.
He lives in Romania, and he's American born, moved to the UK when he was in his young age, 9, 10, grew up in the UK, and then moved to Romania eventually. He was having such an impact on young men, such an impact.
Okay. Good.
That the rumor is that they manufactured a ton of lies to get them in jail.
Okay. I mean,
And they accused him of being a rapist, of being a sex trafficker.
wow.
And the Romanian government held him and his brother for over 6 months in prison without charging them.
I think anyone who is pro-family right now, pro-men, pro-women, pro-strong families, pro-the capitalistic society, I think is being targeted.
Yeah.
Pro-God family capitalism, I think is having a hard time. And strong men who are not afraid to be men and lead are dangerous right now to this feminism breakdown of the family agenda.
And we're also, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say feminism can't get as far as it is getting with strong men standing up and saying no. Why do you think they came up with believe all women in the Me Too movement? Strong men must be silenced. And when they are, we can push through the gates.
All I gotta say is thank you, Johnny Depp.
Why did you think Johnny Depp?
Because that case with him and Amber, what's her name? Amber Heard was her name? You know the story? Okay, so
Meat and Lion.
they were married. Him,
Okay.
she's also an actress. She was an Aquaman
Okay.
with Jason Momoa. Anyway, she accused him of being abusive.
Sure.
Okay, and it was proven in court that she was actually the abuser.
Okay. All right. This is sounding familiar.
She defecated on his bed. Do you recall this? Several times.
Okay, I think
and
maybe-
blamed it on the dog.
Okay, I think maybe I saw something like this in a.
She was very demeaning to him, very belittling to him, and it was proven in court that he was not the crazy one. He was not the abuser. It was her, and she was playing victim the entire time, trying to pull a Me Too on him.
Of course, it's something that the feminists understand with strong men who are afraid to stand up and be strong because they could potentially face
Yeah,
jail.
yeah,
They could be accused of rape, abuse. They could lose everything. If
Yeah.
we make an example out of strong men, we can run wild with this cause.
and I think the worst is that even if you're not convicted, right? The
Reputation.
the public court, right?
Exactly.
They will tear you up
Where do I-
regardless.
Exactly. Where do I go from here?
Right.
This is what people believe about me. So it's enough to make men go away, strong men go away. And I know men who personally, they talk to me. They say, I don't have meetings with women with the door closed. I don't take, lunches by myself. I am extra careful.
Yeah.
I just, masculinity is quite different. Men have become lowered. They're afraid. I could lose everything if this Me Too, if this believe all women type woman just decides she wants to, end me. Even if it's not true, like you said, people will be afraid. People will look at me funny. My family, my wife, my kids. It's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. To continue, are you following, you know who Shannon Sharp is?
Of course.
Are you following what's happening with him right now?
I think I saw something.
He's being sued
He's being sued.
for $50 million
Okay.
from a 20-year-old who does OnlyFans. They had a relationship for 2 years. So I'm
Men,
guessing
be
she was
careful.
18 when they started.
Wow. Okay.
And she's accusing him of raping her in 2 different incidents.
And even if it's not true.
Right.
The Shannon Sharp, the new hub for masculinity,
Yeah.
unapologetic masculinity,
Unk.
is now being sued.
Unk Shay Shay, yep.
Oh, of course. I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen this several times.
Yeah.
And the accusation is rape.
As a podcaster, I needed a place to share my voice and hear other stories. That's how Forge Studios was born. A place created not just for me, but for everyone searching for something more. An environment where as soon as you walk in, you feel the energy and you feel welcomed. Where being seen and heard is part of the experience. A place for entrepreneurs to share their journey, for creators to bring ideas to life, for businesses to grow authentically. A space that values mental health, encourages real conversations, and supports those who turns ideas into impact. Here at the Forge Studios, creativity, culture, and purpose aligns and comes together to help you create something greater. A place where we leave the filters behind and we start expressing ourselves for real. The Forge Studio. Your journey starts here. Your impact starts now.
So, correct. So,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I just think it's so interesting. As I'm sitting here, this just fell on me. The mother of feminism, her father was a rapist. She hated men. So I'm like, I wonder what the connection is. I'm sure I'll find it between, that and now to get rid of strong men, just say they raped you.
Right. Well, because I think that's the ultimate stain against men.
Yes, of course.
But
I'm wondering if there's like an effort, like a group effort in the feminist movement to
I think so.
This is her blueprint, or is this a blueprint that she had? I haven't seen anything like that yet, but I just wouldn't be surprised.
The way it's looking, it's like she set him up.
I'm not surprised. And, my message to men is it's a little bit harder right now. It's going to take a movement. I'm definitely on the front lines of it for women to stand up against these opportunistic women and say, you're not telling the truth. I will not participate in this. I think that you need to be shamed yourself. There's a lot that needs to happen. But until that time comes, men, be careful. Why on earth would you be dealing with an 18-year-old at your age? Get you a woman with some values, some substance.
Go get you a nice auntie.
You don't even have to get you an auntie. Hey, get you a woman and, maybe... what is he,
He's in his 50s.
He's in his 50s, yeah. Get you a woman in her, maybe if you want kids, early 30s. If you don't want kids, 30s, 40s,
Right.
She's still got her youth and beauty, and she's a little bit older and not looking to probably do something stupid because her reputation matters to herself.
Right.
I think men have a responsibility to bear too now. Guard yourself. The climate that we're living in right now.
So to your point, I do think that movement is happening.
I do. I think women are standing up and pushing back and saying, these feminists, these foolish women are making it hard for all men to trust all women.
Yes.
And that is not good. I talk to so many men. I think I'm one of the lucky ones because men know what I do. And so I get like I have like a closet full of secrets. And I'm like, hey, they'll send me like a post, like, can you repost that? Or what do you think? And I'm like, I feel like the fairy godmother of secrets for men. I'm like, okay, I'll take a look at it. It's like they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have women to talk to. And I have to be careful because I know, what they might think when they look at me like, but I do recognize it to a degree.
What do you mean?
Those men who aren't just flirting, there's a real concern here. Like, we want someone to talk about this. This is actually happening. Can you repost this?
Right.
Can you do this? So
versus guys just trying to hit on you.
Yeah. So I wanted to, because,
Got you.
people will think, oh no, they're just, no. There are men who are genuinely concerned about the climate, and women are genuinely concerned because they're concerned. We don't want a society where men are too afraid to be men. And, it's so funny. Women say things like, men aren't men. They are not assertive. They don't court. They don't this, they don't that. Well, we've had this long running feminist movement that said if a man catcalls, he's body shaming, or, he's rude, or he's a pig, So, I mean, yeah, you've made it hard for a man to just approach. I don't know what's on her mind. And especially if I'm a man of means, well, good luck with that. I can't even invite a woman over to dinner anymore at my house. I'm a great cook. Let's just say we're talking about a man. He's a great cook, genuinely just wanting to show off his new knife set. Well, now I've got to worry about this woman. What's on her agenda? You know, is she going to take me for everything I have for inside of my home? Do I need to get cameras everywhere just in case? You know,
Right.
because it would be her word against mine.
That's crazy.
It is. It's different. How can we have, you know, fun anymore?
Right.
We don't trust each other. Men say all the time, I'm not getting married. Women are literally getting married with a 5 and 10 year plan to run off with everything we have. I'm not doing it. Do you know how problematic that is for the American family?
Extremely.
Just because men know women are opportunists, they are cashing out on this narrative. We're not getting married. I'm not going to lose everything to a woman who was never here for me in my family name.
Where do you think that switch occurred? Because the switch definitely occurred from I want my freedom and I want my independence to, oh, I'm going to just take what you have. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think you start giving people inches and they see miles for the taking. Like, oh, okay, this is about this, but, you know, I know that we're also shaming men and policing them, and so how many of us can get away with this?
Right.
You've got big cases like the Cosby case, right?
Mm.
You don't think that several women looked at their lives and said, well, if I can just accuse this high-value man of this and never have to work again, then why not?
Do you
They will
think
regret
some
it.
go as far as saying, oh, I don't mind being roofied. Let me go, you know,
Of course.
that's
I
crazy.
think, wasn't there one woman in the Cosby case who agreed to drugs? And then
Wow.
I think she said she agreed originally, and then, you know, that was all over the place. But I definitely believe there are women who are opportunists, and
I do think that Trump winning was a big setback for feminists.
of course, because he's looked at as this strong male avatar
Yeah.
who is unapologetic about masculinity and doing what needs to be done despite
Yeah.
how people feel about him,
Right.
despite what people say about him.
Right.
And when you look at feminism, and the reason it's gotten so far is because men have become so afraid. I don't want to be accused of anything. I don't want to look like a bad guy. I don't want to
Right.
look like I don't support women. I don't believe in women's rights and empowerment. So yay, I'm just going to go along with it, to the point where men
Right.
have dumbed themselves down to, I believe, the level of the emotional capacity, not capacity, I don't want to say that, the emotional level of women. Like, you've got men who are harder feminists than women. I'm like, do you
I
know
know.
what this is? And if you can't say anything critical about a woman, even if it's true, hey, you're not being fair to her.
Why are you
I-
castrating yourself?
Exactly. Exactly. So Donald Trump is a huge threat to,
And he beat 2 women.
I looked at performance, I looked at merit, I looked at what one was willing to do for the country. I think it's really unfortunate that people made this about race and sex versus who really is better for the
Competency,
country.
right.
And some people just genuinely don't understand what's going on in the
No,
country,
they don't.
especially the attack on the family. And
Or what's required to run this country.
yeah, and so it was about that. Versus, like, I think you might want to really get yourself a history book and maybe even study communism, socialism, and Marxism and see where that's been successful, and if that's the society that you want, then
Plenty of countries out there with those values.
but that's not what made the West the best.
No, it's not.
So if you don't like that, you know, we're not holding you. But I think we're in a place where we need a strong man right now. Especially since, no disrespect to Biden, I'm very pro-American. I don't disrespect my president, especially in public and online. I don't do that. I will attack the issues. I will not attack him.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, Biden didn't even finish his term.
Mm-hmm.
We needed a strong man who was going to produce. And I think when people looked at it, they just decided, you know, especially with the media being exposed, what is more important?
Right. Weighing out their options.
My kid being a different gender, or me feeding my family and getting some pro-family values back on the table.
It's crazy how the left took on that issue and lost so hard.
That's actually still being talked about. And I think it's them losing so hard is one of the things that has given once hardcore Democrats the courage to actually come out. You know, like I'm seeing even Stephen A. Smith now talk more in favor of the right. And I'm like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Bill Maher.
Yeah, yeah. And because I think people are just sick of ignoring common sense. Facts, logic, and truth have been brought back into the American culture.
Yes.
And embraced. Because when we tried everything else, when we tried emotion, and we tried major inclusivity, where did that take us? To a country we were not recognized.
Not to a good place, no.
No, it wasn't a good place. So I got lost track of my point, but I was just saying I think people really are waking up and seeing we don't want that. That doesn't even have anything. If you really believe that you were born the wrong gender or you know who you have sex with, that's actually not anything that the government should be touching.
I
That
agree.
is your
Or
personal
involved with,
life.
yeah.
What is in the best interest of the people? Who is talking about that? These are not real issues. That is none of my business. If you want to have sex with someone of the same gender, you know, that has nothing to do with me.
Right.
Can my country feed itself? Do we have good quality food, goods? Is trade fair? Is the stock market doing well? Our industries performing well? Are we making products here versus everything being outsourced? What about the
Right.
price of energy, fuel?
We
Things we
making
need.
babies.
You know, yeah, are we making babies to replace the current population? And then when we make those babies, are we teaching them to love our country? Like everybody else is teaching their babies to love theirs. You don't want a bunch of citizens who could care less about their country.
My 2.5-year-old loves the American flag.
Oh, that's beautiful. And we should. I love the American flag. I
He
think
sees it, he hugs it, he wants them
Good.
all, loves the
this
American
is the
flag.
greatest country on earth.
I agree.
I still believe in it, and we should all believe in it. But if you tell everybody it's a bad place and it doesn't love you, you know, and then also, you know, you should go be a girl tomorrow. You got a bunch of confused youth, and I feel so bad for, you know, this generation that's coming up. So I think we needed somebody to really get in there and turn this thing around. This is the best country. We do love you. Please stop listening to that.
Right.
You need to be smart. You know, we can't have you underperforming in math, science, and all of the things that matter, but you know about being a social justice warrior because that's going to win a war if it comes down to it, or that's going to win, you know, some intelligence, you know, that we need. That we need real things right now.
What is your opinion? I've seen that there's a rise on polygamy. What is your opinion on that?
Oh, you know, I'm a Christian. So,
But I mean, I understand. What I mean is in more of a, I almost feel like it's a side effect of feminism
it is. It is.
because
The feminist movement embraced anti-traditional values just in general.
and to further that point, I think once you make men more feminine, there's less manly men.
Of course.
So there's less men in the pool for more women.
And there's less logic.
Yeah.
There's
So-
less leadership. Like,
Right.
no, we're not doing that.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. So women are okay sharing one man because there's not that many of that quality of men to go around.
Absolutely.
You know, logically, I understand,
Yes.
but I personally I don't agree with it. But I do think that it's very interesting that that's happening currently. I was watching an interview with Neo, and he has 4 girlfriends.
Okay.
He was on the Angie Martinez show on 105 in New York, and he has 4 girlfriends that currently live with him.
I live with him.
And he was explaining how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I think depending on where you are culturally, some people would argue that that's cultural, that's biblical.
Right.
You know, but I think for me, and for, you know,
Yeah,
what's-
many many biblical characters had 3-4 wives.
Sure. I think, it was a different time.
For
and,
sure.
I think that was reserved for a different class of men, right?
Yeah.
But I think for everybody to try that versus having, I've got a biological mom and a biological dad in a home loving on each other, especially
Right.
for the sake of the kids, which we know they do better in life in general when there's a biological mom and a biological dad in one home living together and married.
Right.
That's a different argument. Again, we're socially ambitious today, so everybody's coming up with all kinds of reasons as to why everything that's not traditional is better.
I like that
And look
word.
at the society, socially ambitious.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
what it is.
Yeah.
I like studying feminism. I learned so much. Yeah, but yeah, everybody's got a reason why everything that God said isn't right. Let's do this. People are just running wild. What's next? Right.
What do you think is next?
Gosh, I have no idea. No idea. But I'm afraid.
Are you?
Not really. Because I know that God is using his best right now to really get in there. But Jesus Christ, we have a fight on our hands to restore decency, to restore the family,
If it makes you feel better,
the natural nuclear family. Sorry.
yeah. If it makes you feel better, there's a new study published that 10 million more people in America recognize themselves as Christian than they did 10 years ago.
Okay, good. Very good.
Yeah.
Because I know that number was falling.
Yeah.
For a very long time. And I'm seeing college campuses too, have these massive outpours of just festivals and worship services. It's great.
I think colleges are chaotic right now.
Colleges are chaotic because right now, and these are, how do I say this? I want to be careful. Many people are saying, colleges are, what are they calling them?
I
now?
agree.
Indoctrination
I agree,
camps
yes.
for liberalism. So
Yes.
many of them. So now being a conservative, which is really, you could say the same as Christian. When you really look at it, it's dangerous and nobody's talking about it. These kids are being targeted. They're being made fun of. They're being kicked out of class. They're losing their social appeal, everything. But if you're this hard left or this person on the left, then you're the cool one. You're tolerant, you're more loving, you're a better person. How do you let that play out on a college campus where I'm already trying to figure out who I am without the complications?
It's insane.
It is. I do agree.
And I feel like the current battle on campuses that was brought on by the Israeli war is very telling. I want to be careful touching around the subject, but I do think that it became a holy war.
I don't know too much about it. You said
More of the
I didn't think that was
Palestinian-Israeli
Okay, gotcha.
conflict in campuses.
Yeah.
I think it became very radical very fast.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And I think it ties in with with all the strings that we've been pulling today. It's just people wanting to challenge discipline and structure and order.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Back in the day, your family name meant something.
Absolutely.
We had shields with our family name, our crest and value of what that family stood for. That's gone.
Absolutely.
There's no more honor in that.
Absolutely. I agree. And I don't think that's on accident. Because if you don't have strong families, I don't think you have strong people. You get your values, your views, your morals, your religious beliefs, all that from your family. First time you go to church, who are you with? Mom and dad.
Right.
Right? The first time you did something that you shouldn't have done. First time your moral compass wasn't where it needed to be. You got your moral compass from your mom and dad, your family. Now, if you break that down, people become whoever the government tells them they are.
Right.
And we know that the government and the media are working in lockstep,
Mm.
you know, to redesign humanity.
As a podcaster, I needed a place to share my voice and hear other stories. That's how Forge Studios was born. A place created not just for me, but for everyone searching for something more. An environment where as soon as you walk in, you feel the energy and you feel welcomed. Where being seen and heard is part of the experience. A place for entrepreneurs to share their journey, for creators to bring ideas to life, for businesses to grow authentically. A space that values mental health, encourages real conversations, and supports those who turns ideas into impact. Here at the Forge Studios, creativity, culture, and purpose aligns and comes together to help you create something greater. A place where we leave the filters behind and we start expressing ourselves for real. The Forge Studio. Your journey starts here. Your impact starts now.
Yeah, they were all over Twitter.
Yeah, so absolutely. You know, and I actually saw that hearing with Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
Jack Dorsey, and you know how they admitted that both Twitter and Facebook at the time
Yeah.
were
Aiding.
90+% Democrat employees. How does that even happen, right? But family is just gone. Values, the institution, it's disappearing.
What advice would you give to young men looking to build a family and get married?
Put God first. Ask God to show you who you are, what your purpose is. Because I think until a man understands why he's here, he's just searching
Yeah.
and wasting a lot of people's time.
Yeah.
So get clear on that as young as possible. You know, stay close to your parents, your grandparents. You know, get those values from them and take them seriously. Get married as young as you can, and build with one woman. Control your sexual urges. It's not just a physical contract. Sex is spiritual. You don't want your spirit floating around all over the place, little pieces of you going away with other women. You need all of you, as much as you yourself as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get your purpose, make sure it pays well so you can take care of your family. But get disciplined. Get aware of yourself first. God, all that comes from God. God first. Self-awareness, purpose. Get married young. Make sure you can take care of your family. Take that seriously. So your wife is comfortable, so she can create an environment where you can go and do more. Become something that you can't become on your own.
I love that.
Thank you.
What would you say to men who have been affected by this movement?
Know who you are. Don't be afraid to be strong. Because at the end of the day, feminists truly are afraid of men. That's why they go so hard. They're afraid of you. So be that man that they're afraid of. And don't apologize for it. That's how we got so far. Men being too apologetic. Stop that. You don't have a masculinity coach. If you don't have a dad, get you someone. Get in a community group. Get in a fraternity. Just, become a man.
Right. I love that.
Thank you.
What would you say to feminist women?
You don't even know what this is. And you're going to regret this if you spend your youth dedicated to this movement.
Yeah.
Because I know 70-year-old feminists.
Really?
Lonely as it is so sad. I'm like, wow. You genuinely did the feminist thing. You have no kids. You got divorced or you didn't marry, and all of your siblings are gone. You're alone with a dog. Seriously, it does happen.
Yeah, I believe it.
It does happen, and they are so unhappy. You drink yourself under the table every day. I know a 70-year-old feminist.
Wow.
Your dog is your best friend. You have no one. And you're very miserable. How is that winning?
Probably angry as well.
Yes. Mean, you know, it's a real thing.
Bitter.
I love my life in the way that God has positioned me in front of women of all walks, so I can speak to the truth. No, I know feminists in their upward years, it's not the path you want. It's not.
Tell me the impact you want your book to have.
I think what I just said, I want to see the family back together. I want to see women be women again. Feminism wanted to destroy organic femininity. I want to see women understand that it was wrong and that we should come back together, because the movement is divided. You've got women over here who are feminists, and then you've got women over here who aren't. And there's a huge culture war, and it's a lot of infighting, you know, with women. So how do we get on the same page? Because I believe we hold so much power. And together, if we get back to those traditional values, one of the biggest ones being that, you know, that modesty, keeping yourself until marriage, men are going to have to rise up again. And they want to. I believe men want to give us what we want. But we do have to return to the fold, because there's no masculinism. There's no masculinist movement. Men didn't abandon ship first. You know, they did I believe men have changed. They have become weaker, but because of feminism.
Right.
And that's the goal of feminism. Raise up the woman, weaken the man, destroy the family.
Do you think that eventually we're going to figure this out?
I do. I know that this book that I'm writing is going to make a huge wave in the kingdom and in the country. I've seen it. And
I'm
there
very
are
excited
others.
for you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited too. I was nervous at first, but I'm happy to do it.
I think you're the right person
Thank you. Why is that?
because you get it.
Yeah, it's from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I don't think you. I know that. Yes, from the heart, pure.
Yeah.
No contamination.
No contamination. I like that. It's not a fad. It's not a, let me do this because right now it's a hot button issue.
Right.
This is purpose. That's a different level of dedication and love.
Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
Married with at least 3 kids, working on my 3rd book of something about the family, and being on the front lines of healing the family, probably in grad school for marriage and family, counseling, therapy, helping couples get together, stay together, build strong families.
I love that.
Thank you so much. And of course, you know, the fame will come along, you know, and
Of course.
make some decisions that I'm probably not aware of right now, but I'm ready.
I see you on stage.
People keep saying that. I'm going to just embrace it. Thank you.
I see you on stage.
This is a stage, Leah.
100%.
Thank you.
Yes. I also think you need. I think you need to be on stage.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
You have a great presence.
Thank you.
You have a great energy.
Thank you.
You're a great communicator.
Thank you again.
You express your thoughts really well, and you're very intelligent, and you know what you're talking about.
Thanks. That's very
So I think that you're going to connect, you're going to build trust, and you're going to make sense.
Thank you. I want people to know this is from the heart. If they can feel that.
100%.
Thank you.
I think you should do a TED Talk.
Okay, I'm
I
open.
think you should definitely get on stage.
Thank you.
I can actually connect you with someone that I know. She's out in Vegas. There's a new version, a competitor to TED Talk that's arising. And but they're only 5 minutes.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's actually going to speak on one of their stages on April 30th in Vegas.
Cool.
I'll get you the contact for that.
I would love that.
Yeah. I think it'd be really good for you.
Thank you, Leo.
Yeah.
You're very kind.
Whatever I can do to help.
Thank you so much.
I want you to tell me, what do you think value means?
Okay.
What do you think worthiness means?
Okay.
And how can someone find their way that's lacking it?
I think value means to add, to make better, to do good. Worthiness.
I love watching your gears turn.
Why is that?
I just see you in deep thought processing. I love it.
Wow, thank you. Worthiness. What does that mean? It's one of those things that's obvious, but not. I haven't
Right,
given
like
it-
common sense.
Yeah. Wow, worthiness. I would say worthiness is it or they, something or someone that is deserving because of the fruit. No feelings, no bias. Because of the fruit. Is it deserving? Are they deserving? That's worthiness. And then you had one more question in there.
What would you say to someone that's lacking
Lacking.
these,
What?
huh?
Those things?
Lacking those
Value?
things, yeah, lacking value and worthiness.
I think when you seek God with your whole heart, He adds those things to you so that you can give those things to others and then get those things back. I think you raise your value by going to God and asking, who am I? Why am I here? And I think your value is attached to your worthiness. Or your worthiness is attached to your value. Or however it goes.
Either, yeah, right. They're interlinked.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
You know, I see you connecting more with men than women. Is that true?
I think I do well. I think I do well with both, but I think what I've had to become aware of is, for several reasons, with women there is a level of competitiveness sometimes that I'm not aware of or caring for. Seriously.
I get it.
It's like what I do is hard.
Yeah.
To do what God has put you here to do, to say yes to that, to be called and to be chosen, that's hard. I'm not in competition with you. I want you to be happy. I want you to win. But don't take advantage of my heart and of my goodness.
Right.
Because when you see me, you see something you don't have. Because I want you to have it, whatever it is that you want. So I think men just have maybe more of an appreciation for me. But I think just generally I get along with everybody, or I connect with everybody.
I can tell.
So sweet.
I would make a suggestion to you.
Sure.
I think you should start a female Bible group.
Okay.
I think it connects with what you're doing, and it puts you in the front once again for leading women back to God.
Okay. That might be a thing. Whatever God wants, I'm here. I say yes.
You can do amazing things.
Thank you.
You are doing amazing things.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. We live in a time where you're very, very much needed.
Thank you.
Because not a lot of people, even women, like you said, what you do is very hard. To take on this mantle, to take the role of Abraham and to listen to God and to do what he's asking you to do without questions, without even knowing how you're going to do it and just going and doing it, it's very, very brave.
Thank you. It is. It's hard.
Yeah. I commend you.
Thank you.
Please let me know whatever I can do to help and assist.
Thank you so much.
I'm here for you.
Thank you.
And I really cannot wait to see what you do. I could not wait for your book to launch.
Thank you so much.
Let me know when that's going to happen. I will promote it for you.
Thank you.
I will push it as hard as I can. Because I want to see you do very well.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Appreciate it. God bless you.
God bless you. Do me a favor. Look at that camera right there.
Which one? This one?
Yeah. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay.
Your website, your book, your coaching program, whatever you want to share.
Sure. So my social media handles are the Femininity Doctor. I have a new site coming, www.theproblemhasfoundaname. So that's going to be the book site because I'm still raising capital for it. This is the last year of research. And then Google, just, look me up. You'll see my podcasts, my shows. My first book is on Amazon, Doctor's Orders, A Guide for Helping Modern Women Reclaim Their Femininity for Good. That's there. And that's pretty much it. On my Instagram, you'll see my courses, self-help materials. And that's it.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out here. Thank you for driving from ATL.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Making that
I'm gonna
trip.
drive this one.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
You're very welcome. Guys, go follow Kelly. Go make sure you get her first book and stay tuned for the second book. If you want more info, please look her up. Reach out to her. Incredible person. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.